Hello there, Grumpy Old Fart here. I'm doing a family game night video because in these times when we're stuck at home with COVID quarantines, apparently we're going through another round of them, whether we want them or not. You got to have something to do, and in my opinion, there's no better way to pass the time than a tabletop role-playing game. And in my opinion, the best one is Advanced Dungeons and Dragons. They've got 3.5 and up to 5th edition, I think it is. The old AD&D, Advanced Dungeons and Dragons, 1st edition. My opinion, that's the way to go. But my son runs a really good 3.5 game. I can't take nothing away from him. In this particular video, I'm going to talk about the world the Dungeon Master creates. If you're running a game and you haven't run a lot, one thing you're going to have to worry about is in-game politics. And I'm not talking about between the players. I'm talking about the world that you're in. Whatever world you're in, the players eventually are going to have to go to town to sell stuff or buy stuff. Any town that you go to has a hierarchy of government, for lack of a better word. And where there's government, there's politics. Period. You cannot get away from it. Now, you can limit the amount as much as possible, and that's generally a good idea. I'm a politically oriented person. Check out some of my other videos on my channel, but I try not to put too much of it into the game as far as that goes. However, there are some cases where you don't really have a choice. The Dungeon Master's Guide is the book, The Dungeon Master's Guide, is a wonderful, wonderful resource. It has a great list of different government types and how they function. It's got the different government types, the different titles for the different governmental functionaries, all the way from the king or Raja or queen or whatever, on down through the barons and the baronets and the governors, viscounts, whatever. Those are the different titles, by the way. It's got how to run taxes, tithes, and tolls. A tax is a general tax on everything. A tithe is what you generally pay a church. A cleric has to tithe so much to a church, as does a paladin, and if anybody who's religious will tithe to their church. In modern parlance, they're passing a collection plate and you throw a penny in or whatever, or throw some coins in or whatever. Tolls are the other thing. When you're entering a town, if it's a walled city, most guards at the city charge a gate fee to get in. You have to pay to get into the city to conduct business. And this is a toll levied on merchants to come in. And they generally levy it on everybody. You can, depending on the size of the city, and how much they need money for whatever reason, because you don't know what the politics are or what they're doing, what the city's involved in. If they're involved in a war, taxes generally go up, tolls as well. But if it's peacetime and there's not really a hell of a lot going on, it's usually pretty cheap, maybe a silver piece a head at most. Now, in some places where the ruler, whoever he is, a king, queen, baron, Raja, whatever, they may up that ante maybe a silver piece per foot. So 2 silver pieces for a person with 2 feet, and if he's got a horse, he has to add another 4, because the horse has 4 feet. So, a man and a horse, that's 2 for a silver piece per head. If it's charging per foot, that jumps up to 6. So you see what I'm saying? It's a way for a city to raise funding. It's also a way for a game master to relieve players of coinage. Keeping them broke makes them want to adventure more. Gives them that. You don't want to rob them blind, but sometimes you can with a thieves guild. But my point is, tolls aren't the way to do it. And there's also toll roads. It's a toll used generally to maintain a road. They have to pay for the guards. They have to pay for the maintenance of the road, keep it nice and even, get rid of fallen rocks and branches and stuff so wagons can go through. There's a plethora of different things you can do as far as that goes. The Dungeon Master's Guide also basically tells you how to deal with religions. Different religions are practiced in different ways, and they have another book. It's called Legends and Lore. It deals specifically with religions in the game, because if you're a cleric, you have to worship a god. And some other players, like paladins, have to worship a god, but other players sometimes want to as well. My point is, this book, Legends and Lore, which, by the way, used to be called Deities and Demigods. It's the same book, it's just different. They had some sort of a contractual problem with the name. I'm not real sure what it was. It was originally Deities and Demigods. They changed it to Legends and Lore. So, it's the same book. I have both of them in there. My point is, that book details different religions, gods, what the gods can do, how their worshippers act, that kind of thing. Functionaries. Most functionaries that the players will run into will be the city guard, tax collectors, the stableman. You know, a guy watching the stables for the guy. Well, he shoots so many horses, so now I can tax him this much. You know, that kind of thing. Different occupations in the city. Like I said, the stableman, the smithy, the bartender, the town crier who goes makes announcements, because that's their news source. Hear ye, so and so had a baby today. Praise him. You know, our king has declared war on this other city, so we have to, all able-bodied men are to report to the armory and learn. You know, blah 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 blah. That kind of thing. A town crier. They had a really good example of this in the. It had 2 seasons. I want to say it was on HBO, called Rome. I've got the series over there. It's quite good, but they have a really good example of a town crier there. So, at any rate, the Dungeon Master's Guide is a very good resource for all of this stuff. They show you how to hire, how and what kind of mercenaries you can hire, how much they cost, and blah 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 blah. A whole lot of different functions of people in town. Clerics, not as in a cleric that can cast spells, but a cleric who does clerical work, an accountant or whatever. You know, all kinds of different things like that. In certain classes, by definition, certain character classes, by definition, are politically oriented. For example, a cavalier. A cavalier is a knight. He's usually serving a lord of some kind. A king, a baron, a count, whatever. Whoever he's sworn allegiance to. And his family are all knights, because it's a caste, C-A-S-T-E, caste system. Paladins and clerics serve an organized religion. Organized religions have temples, and temples are in cities, and they have politics in those. You have the politics in the temple, and you have the politics where the temple deals with the town. Thieves and assassins may join guilds. There are politics in these guilds. A hierarchy of command. On top of that, most of these thieves guilds, in order to operate, either work under the radar to avoid the city politicians and the city guard and like that, or they're shelling out some money to a local functionary so they somehow never get found out. They might arrest a few thieves here and there, pickpockets, that kind of thing, just to make themselves look good. But they won't ever attack, or they won't ever go after the guild itself. You see what I'm saying? And thieves guilds, if you're not familiar with those, thieves and assassins guilds are wonderful, because an assassins guild gives out jobs. They take money and they assign assassins to go and kill people that other people pay to have killed. That's what an assassin does. Thieves guild, a thief who is part of a guild can get information on jobs. He can get, if he does steal something, oh my God, how am I going to get rid of this big gaudy thing that everybody just knows of? He goes to the guild can fence it. He might not get full price, but he'll get some money out of it. If you steal something, that's normal. Gold, a ring here and there, nothing major. That's one thing. But if you break into somebody's house and steal something that's, everybody knows he's got it, everybody knows whose it is, it's worth a buttload of money, but it's really well known in the town, he can go to the Thieves Guild. The Thieves Guild will pay him X amount for it. It may not be what it's worth, but, it's enough so that the guild can make a little bit of profit. And this guy doesn't walk away with something that he can't get rid of. You see what I'm saying? The guild can then smuggle it out of town and take it to this other city over here where maybe it's not so well known, and they can get a better price for it, make a little money. And then God knows what happens to it after that. But my point is, the Thieves Guild can be useful for a thief. He doesn't have to join the guild, but it has functions. See, there's good and bad parts. The bad part about joining a Thieves Guild is you have to do what they say, and you have to pay dues to this guild. X amount of your X percentage of your profit, or it may just be a set amount, 10 gold a month, which is okay, because if you steal 1,000, you get to keep 990. You see what I'm saying? It works out that way. But the problem with that is, in order to be part of the guild, you have to stay in the city. Now, a guild may order you to go and do something outside the city, and that's fine. But anytime you're dealing with the Thieves Guild, there's politics. The wizards require libraries, and libraries, they require libraries for research. Libraries capable of mystical research are expensive, and they are hard to maintain. So generally, they are usually found inside a city. Very rarely you're going to find a library out in the middle of nowhere that's well maintained that you can do magical research on. You see what I'm saying? So the city charges money. The library charges money because they've got to pay taxes to the city in order to function. Well, politics. There are politics in the game. You cannot avoid it. You can control the amount of politics, but and try to keep it as simple as possible. Take my word for it. But you're going to have politics in there. If nothing else, if you don't pay your taxes, the city guard will come and thump you and throw you in jail. Politics. It's just the way it is. City adventures are a great way to add some diversity to the game, because it's not the same old dungeon crawl. Encounters can be very, very diverse. I talked about the Thieves Guild. Thieves are great for stealing players' money. If somebody rips you off and you see them, you holy crap, that guy stole my money, and you chase after him, and then you follow him into this warehouse, and he goes through a trap door. Gee, you've entered the Thieves Guild, where there's a bunch of thieves down there who don't want you to get your money back, and they'll kill you. You see what I'm saying? It's a diverse thing. Then there's always adventure in a city. The city guards, if you get caught doing something, the city guards don't like you or whatever, they'll chase you down and thump you and throw you in jail. So there's always taverns. I did a video called The Pub Crawl. Go check that out. There's always in pubs, you can find bartenders who know of certain jobs that need to be done, and knows the people who are willing to pay to have those jobs done. Nice way to get a job. Again, the more government officials, and you can find all kinds of different contacts in a city. You can, if you make friends with an armorer, you have a place to go to, and he'll cut you a decent deal on fixing your armor if it gets messed up. If you make friends at a smithy or a weapon shop, he may cut you a good price on, they're still going to rob you blind, but it won't be as bad on a sword or an axe or whatever. So anytime you go into a city, it creates different opportunities for adventure, but at the same time, you also have to take into account the denizens of that city, the people who live there, are beholden to the government of that city to keep them safe from marauders and stuff. It's the whole point of having a city. Well, those people have to have money to make everything run. So you have taxes. Those people have to have an army. Taxes. Those people have to pay the city guards to keep everybody safe. Taxes. Gee, it's kind of like the modern world. Government ain't got no money. All it's got is your money. Taxes. It's the way that works. So if you're going to run a game, make sure you get your politics right. And again, you don't have to go in depth. It doesn't have to be a huge political thing, but keep it in mind, because there has to be a logical progression. This guy wants to do this, therefore he does that. Politics makes all that happen, and can get in the way too. So anyway, I hope everybody has fun playing these games, especially during this quarantine where, God knows what's going to happen. But if you're going to sit around with your family, find a way to have some fun. And in my opinion, Advanced Dungeons & Dragons is a damn good way. You folks have a good day. God bless one and all.